Yo, what up, what up? I'm your host, B. Ryder, co-host,
J. Bell.
and this is
Final thoughts.
Today's topic, DL Hugley versus Monique. Let's check it out.
That's what the motherfucking contract says. Monique is to be the last motherfucking person on the goddamn stage. She is the headliner. That's what I signed the fuck up for. I'm 30 plus years in this motherfucking business and I don't open for no goddamn body. The contract said the headliner. The contract said the headliner. The contract said the headliner. But a nigga named D.L. Hugley turned into a bitch and said I won't perform if she does that. You talk about Young Thug, and because of their names, nigga, your name is DL. What the fuck does it stand for? Hey, how far you bending over, nigga, on the DL?
Monique actually felt like she had merit. She would have done one of three things. Either she would have took it up with the promoter, and she did, and the promoter said, we're going on, and whether you're going or not, that's a different thing. You would have not done it, but she knew she had to get on stage, or she would have been in breach of contract, or she would have come to talk to me. She didn't ever, and I emphatically emphasize this, she never once talked to me. I haven't seen Monique in years. I didn't see her at the venue before, after, or during. I haven't spoken or seen Monique. So if you really thought that you had a legitimate contract dispute, you would have come to me and said, hey, I have this contract and you had this contract. Notice not one thing on that contract, not one person she has on that contract, not one thing happened. Do you know why? Because it wasn't legitimate. And she goes on stage. And she proceeds to eviscerate me. Not just me, but Steve Harvey, the sexual, my wife, my dog later on in subsequent conversation. Let me ask you something. What did any of that have to do with an alleged contract dispute?
Here we are.
Yes.
Once again.
Yes. What the hell is going on with, like,
comedians?
Right?
Yeah, I don't know,
What
man.
is happening?
I don't know.
What is that?
It's one of my favorite areas, comedy. Why can't we all just get along?
Why can't we all just get along?
Oh my goodness, this just keeps on.
So, educate the people, just a taste. What's going on? What's happening?
So, I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding between DL Hugley and Monique, and they both showed up at a venue. They're supposed to perform, and I think both of them thought that they were the headliners, which means both of them believed that they were this closing act.
Yeah.
And rather than kind of talk to each other and figure it out, talk to your promoter and manager, Monique went out there and blasted.
And did what Monique does.
Yeah. Set fire to everything, right? I don't know if DL knew about it at the time, because I don't think he addressed it in his closing set.
Yeah.
So he made him find out about it later, I'm sure. But so he did his he went on his radio show and he talked about it, and he let Monique have it as well. So here we are now. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like pretty pissed about it, because she was like, I don't open for nobody. For nobody.
Yeah, she's like, I've been in this game 30 years. I don't open for nobody. Which
Right.
is strange to me, because it's like you have comedians who've been in it just as long, and sometimes they open,
Yeah, it even happens in like R&B. Case in point, the most recent show that came here was Maxwell, Anthony Hamilton, and Joe.
And Joe, right.
And Joe and Anthony Hamilton opened for Maxwell.
Yeah. Joe has been around way longer than both of them, I think, right?
Yeah. I would say so. Mm-hmm. And those dudes are good.
Because we're a family.
It's all about getting the money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Getting
Right.
that paycheck. So, you need pride and ego. You need to put all that shit to the side and just do what you do,
Yeah.
which is be a comedian, perform, give the people what they want. All this extra stuff. I didn't come here. You know what I'm saying? If I was at the show, I didn't come here to hear about your grievances with DL Hugley.
Yeah.
I want to hear funny shit.
Yeah.
Point blank and period. I think.
If you can address the grievances and still make it funny, sure. But
that was emotional.
That was not funny
Look
at
at
all.
you, emotional.
Yeah, she was definitely in her feelings about it, and this is another, I guess, showcasing of the wrong way to handle a situation. Right? We saw it with Will Smith and Chris Rock. He got upset, hit Chris Rock, and we're seeing it again with Monique. Like, there are better ways to handle these situations. You know, the way she handled it, blasting somebody on stage who might not have even known about the disagreement, is completely wrong. That's the wrong way to handle that. If you've seen DL's note from the GED section when he discussed it, he was saying that's something you take up with your manager who writes your contracts, or you take it up with the promoter.
And last resort.
And in the last resort, you take it up with your fellow comic.
Yeah.
You talk to. He said she never once approached him and talked to him about it. So
she didn't do any of that.
Right. So it's kind of hard for me to sympathize with her in this situation. You know,
it's kind of hard for you to sympathize with her in any of the previous situations.
Oh.
Which one? What number?
Like, how many beefs are we going to have? Like, you know, Amy Schumer, Netflix. We got DL now.
Another one.
Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
Daniel Lee and Charlamagne the Guy.
Yeah, it keeps on growing.
It's just like so many people.
So who's like the common denominator out of all of those? Like, take your time. Who's the common denominator out of all of those? And you saying like,
I mean, at some point, you kind of have to look in the mirror. I think, you know.
Yeah.
As much as I appreciate Monique's comedy and her talent or whatnot, like, if you're a difficult person to work with, nobody gonna want to work with you.
You toxic, bro.
Easy, you know. No matter how much.
Shout outs to Don.
No matter
you
how
toxic,
much,
bro.
How much capital you have in the game. Ain't nobody want to work with somebody who's been here 30 years and is still a problem.
Yeah.
It's still a problem.
Like, why you doing this?
Yeah.
Like, now.
Right.
What's causing this? And then, you know, she's been in the spotlight for some, like, just stuff.
Yeah.
Like, with her husband and all of that. Remember that?
What
like,
was
he's daddy or something,
something
like
like
that. And everybody was just like,
You are bizarre.
but you the breadwinner, right?
Yeah. You pay him.
He's like
You
the
pay
manager
him.
or something like that.
Hey,
Did he manage this shit?
and
Because
this
you
is
mad at
clearly
him? You
managed-
mad at DL?
This is clearly managed poorly. Clearly.
That's daddy.
Stop. What do you mean by that?
That's so funny though. But
You think he wear Hoochie Daddy shorts? Don't answer that.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. My God. Ooh. Ooh.
Anyway, what you about to say?
no, it's funny, this whole situation, because he has so many problems with so many people.
Yeah.
And DL said it himself, like he against his better judgment decided to work with her. And now look at that, he's paying for it. So man, he ain't gonna make that mistake again.
Hey, I mean, you know, Twitter is pretty much like Team DL right now.
That's what it seems like.
They're just like, come on, man. Monique need to apologize to him. She tripping, she bugging, wigging, wilding, spazzing.
Another one.
Whatever you want. Whatever you want to call it.
I might have seen
she out of line, huh?
I might have seen one person try and defend her.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
not on Twitter. It was on Facebook, but I seen.
And that was it. And everybody else was like, "You wildin'. You wildin'. Why are you doing this?"
Yeah. It's like when she had the Amy Schumer thing. It's like I wanted to be on her side so much, but asses and seats matter.
Damn straight.
It matters.
Yeah.
If all these people are going to pay this woman, like going to pay to see Amy Schumer, then yeah, she's going to get the millie.
You damn straight.
She's going to get the millie. Like what?
Yeah.
What would I do as a businessman? Let's say I'm CEO of Netflix. Who do you think I'm going to go with? The person that's going to get the most streaming.
Yeah.
The most attention on my network, my streaming app. That's who I'm going to get. Yeah. That's who I'm going to pay more to put out material.
Because you're going to get more.
Yes. It's a business.
Yeah.
It's business. You taking it personal. That's on you. Yeah. If you can only get what 400K?
500.
A half a mil?
Yeah, half a mil. That's what they all.
That's your worth.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Yeah. You got to deal with that. I hate when people live off history. It's what you can do right now. Yeah, you was doing that shit great.
Yeah.
Way back when. But can you still do it?
Right.
This is why people retire. Mm-hmm. At some point. You know what I'm saying? At some point, you got to get off that train.
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically what it comes down to. And that in the industry that they're in, it's not what you've done, it's what you can do.
Yeah.
Well, how many people can you pull into it? And she has this tendency of living off of the past. But she at that part in there when she was like, I've been doing this for 30 years. I don't open for nobody.
Okay.
I'm like, that's bullshit.
But
Dave Chappelle hasn't been doing this shit for that long, right? You're not go close for him. For damn sure.
Come on now.
That would never happen.
He gonna sell out.
Yeah.
He gonna sell out every time. And if he go on Netflix, it's gonna be millions of views.
Like
every time.
Nobody cares how long you've been in the game. That doesn't matter.
Nope.
What can you do now? What can you bring to the table now?
Because nobody else is saying that. Nobody else is living off the history. They just coming up with new content that's relevant to what's going on now, and it's funny.
Because that's what you got to do.
Yes. Instead of going on stage talking about how you've been wronged and all this kind of stuff, like that's not funny. It's just tea at this point. It's VH1, you know what I'm saying? Real Housewives type stuff.
Real Housewives of comedy.
We didn't pay tickets to come here to see that. And if it's going to be like that, I'm not going to buy the next ticket.
Oh no.
I mean, I wouldn't buy Amy Schumer's ticket, but I would buy a DL ticket probably to see DL.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they are in different shows.
Maybe his ticket sales will increase after this. Who knows?
Who knows?
My final thoughts on this is basically, I'm Team DL.
What do you mean by that?
Over here, all day.
Whoa,
just
Team DL.
Bro, that's still gay. No, you're gay. He's gay.
Gay Pride Month.
Here we go.
Okay.
I didn't even hear it when it came out.
Whoa.
Team Hugley.
Just a joke.
Team Hugley. But yeah, this though, like the way Monique handled this was problematic at best, and we see the pattern. You know, the biggest issue I have with Monique is she veils her altruism in like black femininity empowerment, and it's you can see through it. It's just like you aren't really here for black feminism. You're just saying that you're here for you. That's what you're here for, because every fight she's in is her fight. It's a fight for her, and then she tries to bring everybody else. Oh, this is the plight of all black comedians. This is the plight of misogyny and all of this to kind of rile up black feminine women to be on her side for her gain. And none of it has anything to do with the movement or with them at all. That's my biggest issue with it. It's like it's so fake to me. And I hate when people do that, because people do this for every kind of social issue. They try to make their fight seem like your fight. It's not. This isn't about us, Monique. This is about you and your greed and your ego. And you not facing the reality of maybe you're past your prime right now. Maybe nobody came here to see you, Otis.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
But that's me.
Oh,
What's your final thoughts?
That was mean.
He's out of line.
My final thoughts is stop living off the past. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you're going to do, then you're going to have to take these lower, monetary values that's being dished out at you. Because you can't get past the past and you can't get past your ego. That's like you are literally getting in your own way. And people want to pay for jokes. It's a comedian, you know what I'm saying? It's a comedic event. I'm paying for jokes, not tea and all that other stuff. Tell jokes that are funny. Like he said, maybe you passed your prime. Maybe the ship is sailed. Maybe you're just losing your steam. That happens, right? Do something else useful. You might not have to be the person on stage opening or telling jokes. You could write them. You could produce. You could help the younger people get up and tell them how the industry is when you were coming through at their age. You can do all sorts of things outside of just being a fucking asshole on stage. And it's directed towards your own fellow black person and colleague.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
It's weird. You know what? I recently saw something from Ha Davis. No, was that? It was Ryan Davis.
Ryan. Okay,
Yeah, Ryan Davis. He put out. He was talking about how Tiffany Haddish may be a bit of a legend because of what she's done so short in the game, with the little bit of time she has in the game.
Yeah.
And he was pointing out that Tiffany Haddish has brought up 20 or so other comedians on a platform. She gave them a shot, and now these other comedians, their lives have changed just from her putting them on.
Exposure.
Right. And I'm like,
it matters.
That is putting your people on. That's fighting a good fight. Right.
Yeah.
If Monique does that, cool. But all of this, feigning, oh, these people are trying to destroy us and keep us down and all that. I'm like, you can save all of that, man. You can say, I'm done with hearing that. Until, that's not to say I won't, be on Monique's side if she's in the right in the future. But as far as now is concerned, nah, I'm just not trying to hear it.
No.
Yeah. But as I show y'all, thank you for listening to our ramblings. Your host B Ryder, co-host
J Bell.
And this has been Final Thoughts.
You could have not gone on stage, but you knew you didn't have a valid contract. And you do what you always have done. You tried to weaponize black femininity. You tried to turn that audience against me. You tried to burn everything down. Like you do all the time. Who calls Netflix and thinks I can get $10 million because I did the Queens of Comedy? Who thinks you can get on stage and still live off that? I was a king of comedy. You never hear me talking about it, because in this business, like any other, it isn't what you have done, it's what you do. That show was one I signed on to do. I made the quintessential mistake, the horrible mistake that, like Tyler Perry, like Lee Daniels, like Oprah, like all these people, of saying yes to you. And it is an occupational hazard. It is my fault. I have learned my lesson.